attacking countries because you thought that they were a threat. You know, I've been sitting here trying to figure out the logic in that. You know, you can apply, like, here's the thing. The behavior of a country, how a country moves, you can kind of like compare that to an individual as well. So, the United States attacked Iran, right? 2026. I think they bombed them last year too, right? And we know why they're doing this, man. We know why they're helping the small hat nation accomplish the greater Israel project. We know that. We know Pax Judacia is in full effect. We know what's really going on. That's why they don't want Iran with nukes. We know that. It has nothing to do with Iran threatening to attack. And we know it's also because of they want to control their oil and their resources. We know what it's really about. But the news media will keep pumping out these lies and telling us these people are shouting death to America and all of this stuff, but they don't tell you why they shout death to America. Here's the thing, though. What was the reason for America to overthrow them and install the Shah in 53? What reason did they have to do that to those people, man? What reason was it? Was it about nukes back then? No, it wasn't. So we always got to create a new reason to bother these people. It always got to be one reason or other. First, when you bring up, okay, they're chanting death to America, they don't never tell you why they chanting it, right? And then they say, well, they chanting death to America, we can't let them get a nuke. That's why we got to attack them, because we don't want them to get the nuke. And we know the real reason they don't want them with nukes. So they use the nuke thing as a reason to attack. But then when you bring up the coup that the U.S. and Britain pulled on Iran in 53, nobody has an answer for why that coup was, why that was justified. And we know why they did that, because the the elected person that they elected, was it Mossadegh? I can never pronounce the name. He didn't allow Iran to be sold out. So they had to, when it came to the oil and the resources. So again, U.S. and the Western world got to put their hands where it don't belong and want control. It's all about control. So we got to, in order to control, we got to come up with lies and try to demonize a country. Muslim man bad. Muslim man bad. Muslim man bad. And all the while, you're the one that's causing the coups. You're overthrowing their country, but they're the bad guys. What was the precursor to do that? What, like, the justifiable reason? And it was just to steal, to get control of their resources. That's what that was. But if we live in a world where we can just attack people, we can attack countries just because we think, you know, could have, would have, they could do something to us, or they would, then, man, the whole world would be on fire right now, because every neighboring country would think that their neighboring country is a threat to them. And then everybody be fighting right now. But fortunately, we have civilized countries out there that's not in the mix, and they want to mind their business. And I applaud all them countries. Spain, all them countries, Switzerland, staying out of the BS. And I love that. They're not trying to be imperialist. They're not. It's good to see that we have countries that have morals, man. And also actually take care of their people. You know what's funny about a lot of these Americans that support this garbage? You will clap and cheer and want this country to destroy Iran, but I don't see you getting mad about your government that you are approving to do this stuff. I don't see you getting mad telling your government to take care of its own people. Why you not advocating for the government to take care of its people, man? They're giving money to other countries. Other countries got free healthcare off of our dime, free schooling. You ain't complaining about that. Instead, you happy that your president is, you know, let's bomb him. And you ain't gonna go out there and fight, you coward. Can you imagine if I thought somebody was a threat and I had no proof that they were a threat, and I decided to kill him or something, or stab him or punch him, and then found out they didn't even have a weapon, they weren't even thinking about me, bro. What would happen to me? I would probably go to prison or anything. Or, who's to say I try to attack that person, they might do something to me to defend themselves and kill me. Do my family got the right to cry and say, well, that person shouldn't have did that? You know, you see that all the time. When somebody attacks somebody and then it don't go as they expected, the family want to come out and start complaining about how that this didn't have to happen to their loved one and all of that. Well, that's the same thing I see right now. Y'all attacking Iran, but then you mad that they killed troops that were stationed out there. How you gonna be mad when you are the root cause? This is like if I do something to somebody and I just feel like I just could do it, right? Just because. And they defend themselves against me. I can't get surprised, bro. I'm gonna be surprised because they decided to stick up for themselves. What kind of world is that? That's backwards, man. But I'm seeing comments on this channel. I'm seeing comments on other channels. People really live by that ideology. We had to do something before they got a nuke. Why is it your business that Iran gets a nuke? That's none of your business. That is a sovereign country. We don't have the right to tell them that they can't have a nuke when other countries have nukes. When the tiny hat nation has nukes and they're like this big. Why you ain't saying nothing about them? They the ones that's out there obliterating Gaza, but then you worrying about Iran with a nuke. You think Iran will use a nuke on another nuclear country, bro? That don't even make any sense. The only way that probably would happen is if one of those nuclear countries used a nuke on them first. Iran is not. If they got their hands on a nuke, it's just for deterrent. You know, like North Korea. If North Korea was so bad and they got nukes, why didn't they send nukes over there at South Korea by now? Y'all, I don't believe the garbage. Half the stuff the news tell me, I don't believe it. If this country was so evil like they tell us he is, he would have sent missiles a long time ago at South Korea, other places. And I don't want to hear this mess about the shit where they got shot down. Yeah, whatever. Y'all said this man is evil and evil regimes shouldn't have nukes. Well, he's supposedly evil and he has nukes. Is the world, have we been destroyed yet? That's why Iran want a nuke, because they understand if they get their hands on a nuke, it will put a halt to the Greater Israel Project. It will put a halt to the U.S. and the tiny hats stealing their land and trying to control their resources. That's why they want a nuke, man. They don't want a nuke to hurt nobody. They want a nuke for a defensive deterrent. You know, if that's not the case, why does the U.S. have nukes? Why does China have nukes? Why does Russia have nukes? You can't say that Iran don't want nukes for defense when this country got nukes for the same purpose. Y'all not making no sense, man. And every time I bring up why Iran might have an issue with America, everybody always try to like deflect away from the topic, because you can't justify them installing a leader in somebody else's country, man. Because you wouldn't like it if that happened over here. You would have all kind of stuff to say about it then, right? And I keep hearing this stuff. Man, we got to have regime change in Iran. Well, what about regime change over here in America? When is that regime change going to take place? So all these other countries across the planet need regime change, but us. We the most perfect government. We the most perfect country. Every other country got flaws. All the other countries need regime change, but us. Got you. Anyway, let me know what you think. It's Rebel World News. I'll catch y'all in the next one.